Hey guys, it's been years since I've seen a pattern like this, especially across the South and the Mid-Atlantic. And you guys know what I'm talking about. You've kind of been in a snow drought. Well, at least there's chances for snow if that's what you're hoping for. If you're not, I'm sorry to tell you that it looks like we're in for some rough weather over the next, not just week, but maybe the next couple of weeks. Let's talk about what's going on right now. We're dealing with this big storm that's moving off the coast as we head through today, Monday. That's going to bring some snow. We'll dive into that a little bit closer, but I want to give you the big picture outlook. So if that's what you're here for, you can get that and then move along quickly. Cold air moving into the northeast with some snow showers. And this back here is our energy that's going to cause our storm. It's moving into parts of the Rockies. It's bringing some snow showers here. Some of that could be heavy into the parts of the Colorado Rockies, into the Wasatch, and then that drops into the far southwest with some snow here. Lake effect snow starts to pick up behind our system on Wednesday. It'll really pick up today, tonight, into really Tuesday. That's when the real heavy snow will start to pick up as our northwest winds blow. Cold high pressure building in, and then we're looking back here to the southwest. You've got an upper low here back across the four corner states combining with another piece of energy here dropping in from the northern Rockies. If these two combine, which it's looking like they will, the guidance is starting to get really strong. I'm more confident today about a snow in Texas than I am northeast into the mid-Atlantic and into the northeast. Let's look at that as we go through this video today too. Cold northwest winds will blow into the northeast too. I don't want to leave you out because we're going to get a lot of wind and some snow showers, especially up into the mountains here. Downwind into the cities, just cold and windy and blustery, and some light snow up here across the northern plains, back into the Rockies too. But all eyes go to Texas and to Oklahoma and to Arkansas. Even parts of northern Louisiana could see some frozen precipitation. I think that's possible on the southern side of this, and then it starts to get organized here across Texas. This is the kind of storm that could dump several inches of snow into the Metroplex. At this point, it's starting to look really likely. All right, now it's Monday. We're talking about something that's going to be happening now on arguably Thursday morning. You'll start to see this thing come together. So you're 3 days out now. You're getting pretty close here, and some of the agreement is coming together, not just on the European and the GFS, but even the ensemble data is really narrowing down where that heavy band of snow is starting to become more likely. Let's move this ahead in time toward Friday. Our storm looks like it's going to develop here along the Gulf Coast, low pressure deepening here, and then that puts snow up into Arkansas. Now, I think on the southern side of this, you rip off into Arkansas if you're hoping for snow, even to Texarkana, the Arklaplex, it could be that you just get too much warm air overriding the cold air at the surface and you get more ice. That's the potential too into parts of Mississippi and Alabama. The fact that we're talking about mixed precipitation is abnormal for this part of the world, but not unheard of, right? You guys know what I'm talking about. We get this time to time, and here we go. This looks like snow for Arkansas to me, from Little Rock north and then into a good chunk of Oklahoma. I think it's snow here, and then we may get more snow, yes, into Kansas and Missouri once again. This is where things kind of fall apart. As we head toward Friday evening, there's a lot of question as to where this thing goes. Does it fizzle out and move out to sea? Do we get much out of it? Is that kind of the end of it? I don't know that it is. And I'll show you why here on the upper level chart. And then we watch this system here moving into the northern plains. It's going to head towards the Great Lakes. Looks like this weekend, that's going to bring another round of cold air. And then we're going to see snow showers here into the Great Lakes. Across the west, if you watch the weather this week, look how quiet it is compared to what we've seen recently. Most of that storm activity generally here in the east. Here's the reason I'm not so sure that this thing comes up the coast and it really develops off the east coast. Our storm now moving out to sea, it's going to move up just off the northeast coast, and then look at this low that's deepening here. One thing you're not going to have when you see this, you're not going to have a low move up the coast into another low. It just doesn't work that way. However, one thing to see is how far offshore does this move? Do we get enough ridging here, enough return flow to back this around? I don't know that we do. You're not going to go against the wind here, and you're not going to pull your trough back to the north with a low sitting here like this. If anything, what's going to happen is it's going to want to propagate around this. These two might want to dance around each other. That's kind of what you're seeing, right? You're seeing that low back here up to the north turn back into almost up toward Greenland, and then your low here goes out to sea. So that's one of the arguments as to why that might happen. Now, a couple of models are a little bit different. Last night's GFS blew up a huge mid-Atlantic storm, which certainly isn't out of the realm of possibility. We'll look at that in just a second. Here's where we are today, though, that heavy snow moving out of the mid-Atlantic, and then we've got this second round to watch back here. That will be this afternoon and this evening snow. We've had the snow going here through the day across a good part of southern Illinois and Indiana in the morning hours, and then as we move into the afternoon, that moves into this West Virginia, into the central Appalachians, and then watch out here into the D.C. metro area, up to Baltimore, even Delaware, down into Virginia, where we've seen some rain and freezing rain and ice. This last burst of snow will move in tonight. That could cause some slick roads, and it could go all the way down to the coast and affect areas of extreme southern New Jersey down here to Cape May and then down on the Delmarva. As we move into tomorrow, our attention turns to the Great Lakes. Winds turn in out of the northwest, and we get some lake effect snow in the UP of Michigan, here along the eastern shore here of Lake Michigan, and then downwind very close to Erie here. We're picking up moisture way up north. I mean, look at this. You almost got a three-lake punch. 1, 2, and then some of Erie here moving into northwest Pennsylvania, and that could put some heavy snow here down. Over the next couple of days, I think several inches of snow are possible. Across the plains, let's talk about our storm a little bit closer now. We're going to dive into some of that. And by the way, thanks, guys, for watching the video today. Thousands and thousands of you have subscribed just over the last couple of really just the last week. It's blown me away. So if you enjoy this kind of content, first, thank you. If you want to help support what I'm doing here, subscribe and come back. And I hope to see you around, not just when the big winter storms are coming, because look, I try to look at things down the road too and track things long term. I've been really consumed by these short-term storms because we've been super busy. All right, here we go. Look at the plains all the way through Tuesday. Some much needed relief, some calm weather. However, with this high pressure moving in and a fresh snowpack, it could get really cold at night. Listen, this is some real cold moving into Texas too. Not unheard of, but it's definitely going to be causing some problems for pipes that aren't ready for the cold. And then now we look to the precipitation. Back here's your first piece of energy. Here's the second one that's going to connect up with it. And boom, there comes your storm right in here. You can see your trough starting to get negatively tilted, low pressure developing along the Gulf Coast, along our baroclinic zone where you get that difference between warm and cold air. And then you move that moisture north. You're also going to have a decent jet streak moving through here, helping that lift. And that's going to cause the precipitation to break out, I think, across especially North Texas into Oklahoma and Arkansas. This is moving through Friday, bringing that snow now up into Memphis Friday afternoon. It's not the best time of day to accumulate snow, but we'll see how that works out. And then the storm kind of weakens here as it moves across the Gulf Coast, and you can see how all this snow sort of fans out, what's left of that precipitation. This is much lighter snow showing up on the European now, moving into the Ohio Valley for Indiana, Illinois, Ohio, and areas further to the east. We're going to talk about that in just a second. I want to focus on Texas while we're here. Look at this. This is the potential of seeing more than 1 inch of snow. Just so you know, this red is a 90+% chance of seeing more than 1 inch of snow. Even more impressive are odds of seeing more than 3 inches. You're starting to see that 90+ show up here in a bullseye right across North Texas. And look, the odds of more than 6 inches showing up. And when you go over to the 12-inch odds, it's not there on the ensembles. The operational run certainly showing the idea that that could happen as you time some of this out through Thursday. These will be your snowfall totals. Some of these numbers, you can see these darker pinks showing up. That's close to 10 inches. But if you look at the individual numbers, 7.9, 8.6, 9.4, 4 inches here, up into Oklahoma, a good, I would say, 4 to 7 inches of snow across a good chunk of the state, especially the further south and east you go here. And then up into Arkansas, those amounts start to taper off on the operational run. Still looking at several inches of snow. Now, again, Texarkana, I think you're right on that border between ice, sleet, freezing rain, and some snow. Up towards Little Rock, it looks like snow to me, but you might mix over too. And then up toward Memphis and West Tennessee, Jackson, Tennessee may get some snow out of this as well. And again, the European operational dropping the idea of an East Coast snowstorm. Yesterday afternoon's run said no, and so did last night's run. So I'm not so sure that this happens on the East Coast. But again, this is the GFS growing that confidence in those same areas I just showed you, and then that moves off to the east. Look at your probabilities here. Now, this is the snow that we're seeing right now. This is odds of seeing more than 3 inches of snow. This is ongoing, but look, you're getting snow into the south. Now, some of that is going to be really tough to get into North Carolina, but there's a chance. You can see it there. That's odds of seeing more than 3 inches. Odds of seeing an inch here, starting to creep up into that 30 to 50% chance of rain here across, chance of snow here across North Carolina. You're hoping it's not going to be all rain, I know, if you're hoping for snow. This is the GFS just for comparison, and then I'm going to show you the eye candy, which I don't know. I'm kind of throwing it out with the bathwater, but it got a lot of attention last night. That was the 18Z, the late afternoon run of the GFS. This was last night's run, the midnight run, which uses more data. The idea that it still has a pretty strong storm developing here is interesting. Now, bringing it northeast is the problem. I showed you this, right? This upper low that's here spinning, and it's just, I have a hard time seeing how it's going to bring it northeast. The GFS, I think, is catching on to that idea too, right here. Boom, pushing it this way. not bringing it up like this and wrapping it. It just can't with this upper level pattern that we're in. That actually, if it can track right, is the type of setup that could put some heavy snow into New Jersey and right here into Long Island and New York and coastal New England. Let's see how all this plays out, because yesterday's run had a much stronger storm. Look at this. Now, some of you say, well, dang, man, now I got ripped off. I don't get any, I'm getting rain. Well, again, it's the 18Z run. I don't put a lot of faith into this run. However, if you look at last night's run, it was definitely kind of trending toward that 18Z. Now, I say Z, that's Zulu time. That's the time it run. It was the midnight run. That's an easier way to remember it, midnight being GMT time. Early this morning, the early morning run of the GFS pushes this thing out to sea. I'm backing it up and moving it forward. Boom, going out to sea, much like the operational European was doing last night, keeping all the snow in Texas. A long way to go with this. This is your GFS ensemble members. You can see some snow up in here. This would not be the snow we're having now, because that is being counted here. I'm taking that away and adding the odds of seeing the snow totals. This gets spread out as you look at things further down the line. So much less confidence in this area. It is growing off to the south and west. A lot to track. I'll be on it all week. I'll see you next time.